What's going on? It's Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and coming up here on today's show, I'm going to get into PFF's latest mock draft, and I'm going to give you my reaction to all 32 picks in the first round. Now, I do have to say this. When PFF released this mock, it was right before Monday Night Football of the Dolphins and Saints game. So the draft order is not 100% accurate of what the actual draft order is now. However, I'm still going to go ahead and give my reaction to this bad boy. So let's first look here at teams 1 through 4. Jags, Lions, the Texans, and the New York Jets. The number 1 overall pick. The fact that the Jags keep on losing, and no real big surprise here, the Jags go out and get defensive end from Michigan, Aidan Hutchinson. I can't wait to watch this young man this week. He's got an unbelievable motor. He reminds me a lot of those Watt brothers. Not so much TJ, but more of JJ Watt. And then at pick number 2, the Detroit Lions. I mean, this is where you've basically seen Kayvon Thibodeaux and Hutchinson go back-to-back. When you're these two teams here, usually you're like, oh, well, why not get a quarterback? Obviously, they got Trevor Lawrence. The Lions are in a big-time issue, but you have a lot of holes to be able to fill, and I really do believe that these two are the top 2 players on the defensive side of the football. Coming in here at number 3 for the Houston Texans, Evan Neal, offensive tackle for Alabama. This dude is the best left tackle in the league, and when you talk about a lot of the issues for Houston, sure, the quarterback situation is going to be one to monitor, but this team hasn't had a good offensive lineman, especially a left tackle, in quite some time. Let's go to the New York Jets here at number 4, Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback out of LSU. His 2019 tape is phenomenal. Absolutely worth a top 5 pick. His 2020 tape, not so good. 2021, battled some injuries. So when I really think about this type of pick, I personally don't think the Jets should do it because they have not done a very good job of being able to develop young prospects. If you were to go to another team that has shown that ability, I would feel a lot higher in this pick. But the Jets, they get a cornerback out of LSU. Let's go to the next 5 picks here. You got the Giants, the Panthers, the Jets pick via Seattle and that Jamal Adams deal, and then the New York Giants in the Justin Fields trade from last season. But at number 5, George Karlaftis, and this is the edge rusher out of Purdue. Usually when people bring him up, they're like, his sack numbers, they're low. He doesn't really do it for me because he's on Purdue. Watch the tape. This young man got double-teamed maybe more than anybody in the entire country because, well, he played at Purdue and he doesn't have a lot of other playmakers around him. But for the Giants, I mean, please, what other team in the NFL you can almost guarantee is going to take a defensive lineman? It's the Giants. Coming in here at number 6 for Carolina, Charles Cross. And if you can't get Neal, I believe that Cross is the second best overall offensive tackle in this year's draft. Now for Carolina, they have cemented the right side of that tackle position. Now you got to go out and try to find a left tackle for whoever the heck's going to be the quarterback. I hope that it's not going to be Sam Darnold, but it looks like it's going to be Sam Darnold at least this week. Coming in at number 7 is actually one of my favorite prospects, and this pick makes me giggle a little bit because Kyle Hamilton really reminds me of one of the more dynamic safety prospects that we have seen in quite some time. If he wouldn't have gotten hurt earlier this year, it wouldn't surprise me if he would have been a top 5 pick. Hell, he might still be a top 5 pick. But the Jets, this is funny because Jamal Adams, I like Adams, but he is not nearly, I believe, the overall player that Hamilton is going to be in the National Football League. Really good value here for New York. And again, you got the New York Giants. They get another pick, and they're going to go with a center, Tyler Linderbaum. What's one of the biggest issues with the Giants' offensive line? It's center and it's the offensive line. And if you can go out and get a player where I don't usually say this because far too often when you talk about draft prospects, it's, oh, this guy's a once-in-a-generational type talent. That's not what a generational type talent is. But he is, my personal opinion, the top center that I've seen in 10 years. And I don't want to say no way he's a bust, but I really don't see a world where this young man is going to be a bust. So if you need somebody on your offensive line, go out and get the center from Iowa. Now, if you guys love the NFL draft, I am very proud to always say that Chat Sports the last 4 years, the number 1 most watched NFL draft show on YouTube. Yes, we get the picks before you see them on TV. We get sometimes like 50, 60, upwards to 90,000 people live watching at a time. It's an entire day affair. We do every single pick analysis on every pick. I know Tom Downey's already doing his homework on the draft. Now, maybe you're not a draft guy. That's okay. This is the other reason to subscribe. Tom just popped his head in there. He kind of freaked me out a little bit. But we give you guys NFL videos every single day, live at least 3 times a week. We're an interactive channel, so I see the Carolina guy. Michael B., Clayton Lockhart, Real Boss. I appreciate you guys watching. More subs equals more videos. Did I mention it's free? Yeah, this channel's free, so hit that sub button and turn on those noties. Let's go to picks here 9 through 12. The football team, Atlanta, the Denver Broncos, and the Minnesota Vikings. Well, when I looked at a lot of other mock drafts, I was kind of wondering who that quarterback was going to be, the first one off the board, and it's the kid from Mississippi, Matt Corral, Ole Miss. And personally, he's my favorite quarterback prospect. His ability to run, sure, when you look at some of his numbers, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, Washington needs a quarterback. I mean, as much as I like Taylor Heineke, they need a quarterback, and they know it as well. Are we going to have a little bit of a quarterback run here? Atlanta Falcons, they have Matt Ryan. If they went ahead and they took Kenny Pickett, quarterback out of Pittsburgh at number 10, would that mean that they're moving on from Matt Ryan? Or would Pickett learn underneath Matty Ice? Because if I'm being 100% honest with y'all, when I look at Pickett, I do see a lot of Matt Ryan. Now, I think Pickett is a more athletic quarterback than what Ryan was when he first came out of the draft. And I think Ryan is a little bit more accurate than what Pickett was. But I actually kind of like this idea for Atlanta. At number 11 here, it's Akeem Ekwonu, offensive tackle from North Carolina State. This dude actually can also play a little bit of offensive guard as well. I mean, for Denver, if you're going to go out and you're going to try to maybe potentially bring in a quarterback like a Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, anytime you can update, I don't know if update's the right word, upgrade the offensive line, that's the route that I personally think that you're going to have to go. At number 12, another quarterback is going off the board, Malik Willis. So for everybody out there, hey, I love this kid's overall athletic ability. Now, he's raw. He's very, very raw. And I've always said if you're going to be a team that drafts Willis, personally, I would like Willis to learn behind somebody. Now, Kirk Cousins, statistically, is actually having a pretty good statistical season. And if the Vikings' overall plan is, all right, we're going to have Malik learn behind Kirk Cousins for one season and then go with him, that's fine. The only thing that I'm a little bit confused about this pick is they just drafted Kellen Mond. I was never a big Kellen Mond fan, but if you take Malik Willis here at number 12, that already tells me that, yeah, Kellen Mond was just an absolute failure. So how many quarterbacks, guys, get drafted in the top 10? According to this latest mock draft from PFF, they have 2 going, Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral. When I've done other mock drafts, I've seen some that have 0. My issue is this. I would be absolutely shocked if not a single quarterback went in the top 10. The number that I'm personally going to go with is number 2. And when you're going to see the combine happen, you're going to see some of these guys that potentially play pretty well down the end of the stretch. I mean, there was no other quarterback in the soon to be in the NFL that can boost his draft stock more than Desmond Ridder. If Desmond Ridder goes out and beats Alabama, I am telling y'all right now, his draft stock is going to go absolutely through the roof. Let's keep this PFF mock draft reaction show going here on NFL Daily. Mitchell Renz, Trace Gerard, working hard behind the scene. We have the Browns, the Eagles, the Saints, and the Steelers. Friendly reminder, the Eagles, 3 first-round picks. The Cleveland Browns at pick number 13. We got a wide receiver going off the board here, Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. I really like Wilson's overall athletic ability out of the 2 receivers from Ohio State. He, personally, to me, has the higher ceiling, though Chris Olave, who we're going to get to here in a little bit, does have really amazing ability to just find a way to get open. At number 14, the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, if you want to try to take down Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, you got to slow down Dak. And David Ojabo, to me, I don't know if there's a player in this year's draft, and I mean this, that has the upside that David Ojabo does. And what do I mean by that? This guy just started playing football. A few years ago, he didn't even know what it was. His parents, just a few weeks ago at the Ohio State-Michigan game, saw him play football for the very first time. He's even admitted that he doesn't even understand all the rules. You get this guy underneath some NFL coaching, and he can use that athletic ability that he has, dude. I'm telling you, sky's the limit for Ojabo. Let's go to number 15 here for the New Orleans Saints, Treylon Burks. He's a big physical wide receiver, 6'3", 225 pounds, and I personally think the only way that they make this move here is if they decide to move on from Michael Thomas. I like Michael Thomas. He's a good receiver. Was Michael maybe made a little bit because of Drew Brees? Sure, maybe. But also, I know a lot of Saints fans, including Trace behind the scenes, is a little sick of Michael Thomas. But Burks, though, has that athletic ability. He does have some concentration and drop issues, but this would be a really, really good pickup for a Saints offense that needs some skill position players. Coming in here at number 16, Sam Howell, quarterback out of North Carolina. This means no more Ben Roethlisberger. I personally believe that after this season, Big Ben is going to hang up the cleats. He's been playing since 2004. I was 11 years old when Ben Roethlisberger came into the National Football League. But this is a move where Sam Howell, I think, has really good athletic ability and has struggled at times, but he's played better of late. Now, when you guys want, I have an amazing deal for you. If you haven't already, go to chatsports.com/bet. Whether you want to bet on college football games that are coming up this week, if you want to bet on Alabama, you want to bet on Michigan, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to bet on NFL Week 17, you can also go ahead and do that. Take advantage of the best deal on the internet. How do you do it? You got to go to the link below, chatsports.com/bet. Promo code NFL Daily for 125% deposit bonus. Let's go to the back half of the draft here, and we're going to move a little bit quicker. Chargers, Raiders, Eagles via Miami, and then the Baltimore Ravens. Here's that other receiver out of Ohio State, Chris Olave. I don't know why, but this young man just finds ways to get open. I am curious, though, to see if the Chargers decide to bring back Mike Williams, because if they don't, this pick makes some sense. Let's go to the Las Vegas Raiders here, and they're going to take another Alabama wide receiver. Amari Cooper didn't work. Henry Ruggs, obviously, that whole situation. But Jameson Williams, the more and more tape I watch on this guy, he's starting to turn into my favorite wide receiver. His upside is 100% there. It would just be who's going to be throwing the football in 2022. Let's go to pick number 19 here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington. Kind of what I mentioned before with Ojabo, you just have to slow down the overall offense of the Cowboys. I really truly believe that every single team needs to try to compete with Dallas. And for Philadelphia, you're going to try to build the cornerback position. You're going to try to build the edge rushing position. So far, a pretty good start there for Philly. At number 20, Elam, cornerback out of Florida. And I believe his first name is Kier. Kier. And then this is the big-time pick here because you lost Marcus Peters. You lost Marlon Humphrey this season. The only thing that makes me nervous, and I'm always the guy that says, judge the player, not the helmet. But when was the last time a first-round pick cornerback out of Florida worked? It makes me a little bit nervous. That's all I got to say. Now, out of some of these top receivers, because this is a very talented wide receiver class. Now, I don't know if there's any of these guys that are star-studded that could go in the top 5, 6 like we saw last year with Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle. But this class is also very, very deep. Like, it would not surprise me whatsoever if we saw 6 guys go in the first round. Let's now go to pick number 21 here, 22, 23, and 24. The Miami Dolphins are going to go with Jaquan Brisker, safety from PSU. I'm a Penn State guy. I grew up a few minutes away from Happy Valley. However, I do not like this pick whatsoever for the Dolphins. They need offensive linemen in the first round. At number 22, Amon Sauce Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati. This is a young man who's going to be going up against Williams, the wide receiver from Alabama, and if his stock wants to go up, he needs to go ahead and shut out that guy. At pick number 23, Drake London, wide receiver out of USC. This guy played college basketball for the Trojans in 2019, 2020, and they're going to go ahead and try to find a playmaker. For anybody that was a big-time fan of Alshon Jeffrey, Drake London actually reminds me a lot of Alshon Jeffrey, though hopefully he can actually stay healthy. At pick number 24, Kingsley Enagbare, edge rusher out of South Carolina. If this is a move where if you're going to try to go ahead and replace Chandler Jones, might be a guy that might be able to do. Oh, you're not going to replace Chandler Jones. You just got to find somebody that can be an extra edge rusher. Let's go to picks now, 25 through 28. The Buffalo Bills here in our PFF mock draft reaction video. Roger McCreary, cornerback out of Auburn. Now, this kid to me is pretty physical, and he really fits what I think Sean McDermott looks for in a corner. Somebody who's feisty, somebody who's physical, is not afraid to put his hands on some people. At pick number 26, the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to go with the offensive guard out of Texas A&M, Kenyon Green. And your biggest thing, protect Joe Burrow, because if you keep Burrow upright with the offensive skill position players that they have, and if you can get somebody who can help Joe Mixon run the ball a little bit better, that offense, the Bengals, they're projecting in the right way. Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback out of Clemson. He's going to end up going to Tampa Bay. I love what I've seen out of this kid. I get it. Clemson this year has been a major disappointment, but for Tampa Bay, who's had probably more injuries than anybody at the cornerback position, and it's definitely their biggest weakness, this is an absolute steal at 27. At pick number 28 for the Tennessee Titans, Bernhard Raimann, offensive tackle out of Central Michigan. I mean, look at all the injuries that Tennessee has had. Taylor Lewan. And I mean, if you're going to try to maybe find a Taylor Lewan replacement, Raimann might be your dude. Now, if anybody watches this mock draft, you're like, hey, man, I appreciate that you're doing this. You can always hit me up on IG, at Mitchell Renz 365. I know it's about to be the holidays. If you want to send me your New Year's resolutions, please go ahead and do so. I'm always keeping you guys up to date, though. NFL, fantasy football, Raiders content, hit me up on IG. All right, let's wrap up this PFF mock draft here with the final 4 picks. The Detroit Lions via the Rams in the Matthew Stafford trade. They're going to go ahead and get Nakobe Dean, a linebacker out of Georgia. At this point, you just need to be able to find playmakers, and this Dean guy, he's a playmaker. In Detroit, yeah, they need those type of guys. The Dallas Cowboys, Drake Jackson, edge rusher out of USC. It's not that I don't like Jackson. I just think this is a little bit high in terms of pick here. Maybe they're scrambling or trying to find a DeMarcus Lawrence replacement, but if I'm being 100% honest, I didn't quite get this pick. Kansas City Chiefs. I always feel like they always get these really good guys near the end of the draft. I love Jahan Dotson, wide receiver out of Penn State. He's probably going to be the dude that a lot of people sleep on. A little bit undersized, 5'11", like 200 pounds, but he's an explosive athlete. And if you were to pair him and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, yeah, good luck. At pick number 32, Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle out of Georgia. I personally believe that he is the top defensive tackle or second best defensive tackle in this year's class. I do like his athletic ability, and for the Green Bay Packers, you have to be able to bolster that defensive line a little bit more because that is probably their biggest weakness on the defensive side of the football. Now, what did y'all think about that PFF mock, y'all? A, B, C, D, or F? We've all been to school, right? Right? At least hopefully. If you haven't, that's on you, or maybe it's on your parents. I don't know. Grade this mock draft from PFF. A, you loved it. B, it was good. C, it was average. D, it was bad. Or F, you absolutely effing hated it.